go to
Or
30.
the property
Exactly,
could,
that's what I'm saying.
It's less.
We're talking two different
Yeah.
deals
Yeah.
here, so.
or the property
That was
could
the
be
only
sold
reason I was-
tomorrow. I mean,
But
so we
I'm
can't.
in
for-
agreement with you guys that we've got to know something for sure. I mean, we bounced all around.
Yes.
Bring us something solid that says, now I don't know whether that's hiring another arborist. I don't know whether that's getting the county. And let me ask staff a question real quick while I'm right here. I sat in a Zoom meeting that we talked about changing there being 30% green space in RUD, and that was when you were kind of talking about this, that 6 months, a year ago, eight months ago. I don't know. Anyways, was the plan at first not to make them do a tree survey of the whole parcel?
Whole place, yeah.
And I know you had some kickback from that because I mean, tree surveys are expensive. So
Yes, so I'll, as part of the amendment to the grand tree provisions, most of the ordinance that was passed in February had to do with conservation subdivisions and open space. There were a couple of components to the grand tree provisions that were modified, the first of which has been mentioned many times tonight from the change from 32 to 24 inches diameter breast height. But the other provision that was changed to benefit and make it less cumbersome for developers is the grand trees used to be on the books, had to be surveyed for the entire site. So that was changed to make it just for the limits of disturbance.
So, and the code reads
And that's,
within the limits of disturbance, correct?
so in the staff report, it'll have the language there.
Yeah, there's like 80 pages in front of me. So.
Yeah, so
Page
it's page
99.
99, and the language at the bottom reads,
More than that.
each grand tree within proposed limits of disturbance must be located and sized on all submittals, including but not limited to preliminary site plans, commercial site plans, multifamily site plans, and on and on.
Okay, so you're asking them to bring you the trees in the limits of disturbance, and then you're going out, you know, Peter here is going outside the limits of disturbance and grabbing more trees. I mean, I understand you drop a bulldozer in the ground, you're going to disturb roots if that tree's over there, but I mean, a pine tree, tap root goes straight down in the ground. We're not, I don't understand how you, is there something written in the code that says, okay, well, we need to look 20 foot outside the limits of disturbance?
So the code, regardless of where a survey is conducted, the code does not allow for the removal of a grand tree. So to reduce the, difficulty of serving a massive site, and this is undoubtedly a massive site, and it's very expensive to do something to that scale. So regardless of whether the code requires them to depict the grand tree on a submitted application, they still need to preserve the grand tree or get approval by this board or administratively to remove it. So it benefits the applicant to show all of the grand trees that are not only within the limits of disturbance, because that's required, but it also benefits them to show the ones that are immediately adjacent so that there's no ambiguity about, root damage and the like, because when they come in for a review of the construction documents, they're likely going to be required to have tree protection in place for those trees that we know are there.
Thank you.
And can I put in I guess this can be a petty comment, but I still have no idea what we're even talking about because I can't read the plan. I'm an architect, and I understand the benefit of a graphic that people can use. So if this does come back, I would strongly recommend putting in here a plan that we can actually look at a tree and see what it says, because this is blobs on the page for me. And so I have a hard time going one way or the other. If I had better information that I could actually read, I'd probably go a different direction right now.
I think all of us up here kind of know how we want to do it, but we don't have enough information to be confident about it.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line.
Which is part of my comment, is I can't read what's on this.
All right, so we got a motion to defer.
1 month, 1 meeting?
to the August meeting?
Yep.
When they say they're gonna have the
The next
plans
one-
for the other part?
But what are we asking?
How much time do you, if we do a deferral?
Before you vote, what other information are you looking for that you don't already have? Because if you zoom in on those drawings, you see the species, and they're also listed out in taxonomic form what the species are. They're numbered and they're listed on the sheet.
Y'all
So
need
what
to-
other
y'all need to-
information do we need to provide?
You see them people over there and
Yeah.
over here? Y'all need to go sit down. You need to put a big bottle of Jack in the middle of the table and get it all settled, get it settled and get on the same page. Because it's very difficult for us as a board to make a decision without that.
Understood, but the question is, regardless of whether the number is 20 as we propose or 34 that they propose, the mitigation plan is still the same. So what difference does it make if we come to an agreement or not on the number?
Because the ordinance says you can't cut down a grand tree till we approve it. We're not getting enough information to make that decision.
Well,
Simple as
but I
that.
understand, what he's asking, what else do we want for him to prove? And that's what, you know, that's another hard part of it.
We've surveyed everything that we feel
Do
like.
we
is
have
outside of
asked
this
for
disturbance purview.
an
Yeah,
agreed,
he
do
says-
we ask for an agreed upon consistent number that staff and the applicant
Agreed.
can
Agreed.
say, this is the number? Because if they come again with one number and staff says it's
Exactly.
different,
Well, it's not,
who determines
still-
what we
Well,
The
approve?
plan is still the same, it's a
Right.
one-to-one plan. It's 20
Yeah.
years.
But what
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
saying
You're not
is,
supposed to take
Five trees
out
gonna make a
one per the
difference.
code, so we have to make a decision on that. It
Is
doesn't
5
matter what
trees
you
gonna make a
mitigate.
difference?
Yeah, it's either.
The code says you're not supposed to take any
Yeah,
out,
so
so we've
you
gotta
either-
make
you
that
either
decision.
Approve it or disapprove it.
No, I know you're not gonna get the zero.
agree with that.
And I
We
think
understand
everybody on
that.
this board knows you're not gonna get the zero.
and we're not asking you to get to zero, but
We're
can
asking
we
you to
have
have
one
the same number as the
consistent
county.
number that we vote on?
well, I'm not even asking for, I mean, beyond a number, I mean, a plan that identifies the trees.
Y'all gotta get
So-
closer than 18 apart.
Well, no, even just the trees.
Yeah.
Which tree are we talking
I
about?
don't know who's
Mr.
these
Chair?
dogs with whom,
Yes.
but y'all got to get closer
Hold
to
on,
18.
hold on,
Yes.
let's have
19.
order. Okay.
So you have a motion and a second,
Yes.
and you've had some discussion.
Yes,
Might be a good time to call for a vote.
yes. All in favor of the deferral, raise your right hand. All against, raise your right hand. Okay. It is deferred.
I realize it's a breach of protocol, but could the board provide guidance to the planning staff as to how they should arrive at a confirmed number of trees that are within the boundaries of disturbance? Because I don't think it's reasonable to ask me to go out and hire yet another surveyor to go do that work. And if they are not employing a surveyor, a licensed surveyor to go out and do that work, then their determinations is based on eyeballing things, and I think that puts us back in the same spot this time next month, so.
Well, at the beginning, let's end this thing, but at the beginning, the staff asked for a deferral because they don't have enough information. So you need to be fair to them. They need more information from you. So if you talk to them and run a dead-end road, Christie Cox.
Well, I think,
I don't,
I think it's right. We need to get a clear determination of, is it in the limits of the disturbance and nothing outside? You know,
well,
but what is it by code?
it says within the limits of disturbance, but then it says you're supposed to protect all grand trees, so that's assumably outside the limits of disturbance too. So I mean,
Right.
there's gray area, and I think that's why we're here as a board to make that decision. But I don't think we as a board can tell staff to go hire a licensed arborist to, but you know, I mean, common sense says, yeah, that's what we need to do. But I don't think that we can make that decision. So
That's all right.
If it's helpful to the discussion, I think really at this point, staff and the applicant aren't all that far apart. I think we're talking about trees that are adjacent to the limits of disturbance that are unlikely to survive. And we're talking about, based on staff site visit with the arborist, some additional trees that may or may not be in or adjacent to the limits. So it's really trying to figure out where those 8 are, and we're prepared to do that, meet with the arborist again on site and figure that out and officially eliminate them. We just have not had the opportunity to do that to this point because the site visit was conducted on July 1st.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you.
Any further business?
Motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor? Adjourn. Meeting is adjourned.